to treat ourselves, as
You
what
should.
Gabriel was saying. So I think it's important to one book I'm reading right now that talks about kind of what you're saying is, oops, sorry, it's, I forget what it's called, but it doesn't matter.
Did you say sorry?
I said sorry
I
because
kicked my leg. That's the first.
I hit his knee by mistake. On
Do it again. Do it again. I want to hear it.
Oh, now it's just, now it's
Just all kinds of wrong.
I'll never do it again.
No, listen. This book, I believe, not I believe, it talks about just appreciating and looking back at where you were.
Sure.
You know, it's oftentimes someone like myself, I look at where I want to be. I'm obsessed about where I want to be. I'm in a hurry, or I'm anxious to get where I want to go.
Sure.
But you have to stop and just look back once in a while, and to kind of appreciate. Well, look at, you know, I've progressed. When we have that feeling of progression, of being moving forward, then it's enough to keep you going. It's that motivation.
So, I completely agree. What would I say is it's a very known quote, which is, when you're about to give up, remember why you started. Tell me I'm wrong. Well, it's about to start. It's coming. It's coming. So I gotta say it though. I gotta say why though. So Etienne has a challenge today, all right? And he's supposed to spend 20 minutes without insulting or degrading. And it's not going well. He's read already. We're at minute 2.
No, it's not. It's not about degrading. I never degrade.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
No,
I exaggerate to prove a point.
I was laughing.
It's funny though, because you wanted to say something, and
But you open the door all the time.
How did I open the door? It's just a quote. If you're about to give up, remember why you started. And then he's about to say, you would know because you give up daily.
Well,
Isn't that it?
I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but I think that, you know, when you're...
That's exactly what was going to happen.
When you're faced with challenges, and you are faced with many challenges every day, I think even more than I am.
Sure.
Because you have to deal with me.
Sure.
No, it's true. Yeah. So you might confront your own thoughts of quitting all things. Because I'm demanding on myself. So obviously I'm going to be. You're in an environment that's quite demanding. So I wouldn't want to be you. I actually don't like my own self sometimes with that little voice. Not that I don't like myself, but I'm hard on myself, and I'm conscious of it. So I can imagine how it must be for you, for Jay, for Mike, for the team, and my wife. You know, I call her my angel, because really, I have a hard time with my own self. You know, people like my kids, my wife. My kids are. I'm not like that with my kids.
Yeah. We're on a very slippery. You're a likable guy. We all like you. That's why we're all here.
I'm an extremely emotional individual.
But that's what makes you so sincere.
I am. I'm always very sincere. But I am hard on. I mean, I have strong goals and strong objectives, and I want to perform. I want to prove to myself that I'm capable.
But that encourages people.
Well, I would think that's what I think.
Yeah.
But not everybody has that tolerance, maybe for what I put myself through.
Which is normal.
You do have. You're capable. That we know. That I know. Well, the first time I think we went to the gym, or we said we were going to go to the gym, and you were there at 3 in the morning. I thought you were joking. And I show up, and his car's in the driveway, and in the parking lot, and I'm like, oh, he just got here, and you were almost done.
I was in sweat.
It was the white lie he had to keep up for years.
Yeah. That's why your back is probably not great these days. But but you did surprise me with that. So I know that you have the capacity to take a lot.
Sure.
You are tough on yourself, but I don't think you're as tough as I am on yourself. I could be
say
wrong.
that again?
I'm
not as tough as on myself as you're tough on me.
I think that you are able to enjoy life more than I. And Mike, it's too bad he's not here. But Mike is someone that is capable of enjoying life. He will take time for himself, and he's a super hard worker.
Yeah, of course.
And he knows how to live.
He's getting emotional.
No, that's something I got to work on. So the book, to go back to what we were saying at the beginning, what you were saying is, and now I feel bad because I don't remember what the topic of the book is, but I'll find it and we'll post it. It's to look back more frequently at where you were. Not necessarily at the beginning, but just maybe, oh, what about last week? Where were we last week, last month, last quarter?
Yeah.
And what have we grown or built, or how much progress did we do? We have.
This book has had a big effect on, because you've been talking about this. This is a big line all week.
Yeah, because I want more and more to live more in the present, and to do so, I have to just take a look back more frequently.
Mm-hmm.
You know me, Gabriel, with the objectives. I'm always talking about big objectives. You've been around me for 2 years now or so. It's always like, oh, well, we can do better, we can do better. But I don't take enough time to appreciate where we are today and what we did today versus yesterday. Jay, you and I talk about this all the time. This morning, we're talking about that. Well, look at just last week to this week. Look at just yesterday to today.
Well, it's not so obvious. We've been conditioned and we've been raised to do things in a linear fashion, but the world today is not linear. It's not. What we're working on today is going to have effects for months down the road, maybe even years down the road. And what we're spending money on has to have many different conditions, or many different purposes. So it's a big why. Everything's much wider than it was just even a few years ago. And
I think that to my kids, my young kids, because I have 2 older boys, but my young kids, take me to. I'm not emotional. It's because I'm at the end of a cold, and there's nothing wrong with being emotional. But just to clarify,
if you're talking about your kids, it's fine.
No, my kids, my little guys, they help me to stay in the moment, because every time I look at them, they're in the moment. Like they're young. I have a 2-year-old and a 7-8-month-old boy, and they live in the moment. My dog, which is for those that have pets, my dog lives in the moment. Mm-hmm. Like the other day, I get home Monday, Tuesday. I'm thinking to myself, he's always as happy as you can be or more to see me, even though it's like there's not one day that my kids or my dog is not super, and that's rare, because everybody else, when I show up, they're like, oh man,
not again.
So what's the major takeaway of where you are in this book that we don't know the title to?
Well, it's primarily to just assess and to live more in the moment by constantly looking back at where was I yesterday, where was I last month, and it's true when you start doing that.
Yeah.
These little progression or progress that you've done will give you that feeling or that sense of accomplishment.
Is there an explanation of why we as human beings do that? Why we are always seeking, or we don't really know where we are in time?
Well, I'm not there yet, because it's just a few chapters so far. But one thing is that the super achievers are the ones with the bigger problem of not living in the moment, or not appreciating where they're at. You know this. Just last month or the month before, we were talking about what we had done last year and the award that we won for the greatest growth of agencies at Royal LePage, and I was not happy with it. You know this. Every time we have some accomplishment of something, I'm never happy. I'm like, oh, well, it's not that I'm not happy. I'm happy for half a second, and I'm like, well, we could do more. We could go to another level, and so on and so forth. So I got to work on that. I think it's important just for the team. For you, for Jay, for everybody. I need to be more happy about where we are, for the team to be in a better spiritual mood so that we can get to the next level.
It feels like an opening or a segue to us making it a crack, right? At what you're saying.
Well, in normal times, that's what would happen, but...
But I do think it's true. I do think just the amount, we wrote down this week the amount of output for what we do in a week. And there's like 17 hours. I've said it a couple times now this week.
Yeah.
But that's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot more than more agencies do with their brokers. 17 hours of know-how. That's crazy.
Yeah. So how do you live like that? Do you look back? Do you celebrate your wins?
I'd say the biggest danger when you want to do this or when you forget to do this, because you're not comparing yourself to you or to you yesterday. Enjoy the sugary. But you actually compare yourself to others, which is the reflex, right? Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. But I don't compare myself to others. I'm just hard on myself because I think I can do more.
No, you know,
I'm capable of more.
I'm going to disagree, because you know who you always compare yourself with?
No.
Amazon.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I do not.
You say, why would we do it like this? If you look at companies like Amazon, this is exactly how they do it. So why shouldn't we do it like this? And look how they are now, and look where we are now.
The
Look
door
at
is
their
wide
growth.
open for me to be
Go
my,
ahead.
but I won't. I will refrain.
He's writing it down, bro. Look, all the notes are here. Remind myself.
I said yesterday, so every week, Thursdays and Fridays, I do what we call mentorship with groups of 15, 20 people, brokers. And yesterday I was saying the reason why I use Amazon, Apple, Starbucks, those big companies that we all know, is to, when trying to explain or educate, I find that extremes are the best to make sure that my point gets across. So when I bring up Amazon and all that, it's just that I know you know Amazon. I know how you associate Amazon with a very successful company. And it's not because I compare myself to or wish that I strive for. I applaud and I recognize and I understand what it took to get there, and that's but I don't compare. No, I just feel that I'm capable of more. Mm-hmm. There's this voice inside of me since I was 3 years old that just says I can do more. I can help more. My duty is to be more, to give more. So I don't compare myself.
So let me put this way instead. Instead of talking about Amazon, maybe it's going to be more accurate to say that you're always comparing yourself to what you think or where you think you would be. Yeah. Let's say now, and then where you actually are, mm-hmm. instead of actually just looking back and saying, man, I actually came from that and I am where I am now.
But you're absolutely right, and that's kind of what the book is saying. But at the same time, I certainly don't want to just be happy and stop the growth or developing my knowledge or my business or my relationships because I don't want to be But I think there's a period. Maybe that's where the book is going. I'm not done the book. Maybe it's that there's a period where you have to sit there. Right. I don't know how long you sit there for, but maybe it's just once a day for a few minutes where you just acknowledge or you're grateful. Mm-hmm. Isn't it kind of what mindfulness is in the end? You that meditates and...
Oh, he's about to.
No,
you see it in the face.
In your calendar. So we all have access to our calendars, and mm-hmm. Gabriel has a... I always laugh when they see it.
I'm going to open it up because...
He calls it the quiet time.
Yeah. Well, it has 2 words, right? So I'm going to have...
It's childish in nature, but...
I got kids. All my terms are like this. So you start, we have wake up time, then you have exercise, then you have quiet time / meditate.
Okay, so there you go. Do you practice, wouldn't you call meditation or mindfulness or whatever you call it? Mm-hmm. Isn't that what that is? Meditation is to appreciate and be in the moment and reflect back on.
Yeah, look, for me, everybody has their own, I think, definition of what meditation can mean for them or what it can do for them. I would say for me, the biggest part of it is simply the fact that we don't have one moment during the day where you're actually going to have that quiet time, as it says in the calendar. But it's true. Think about it. Even for yourself, because you got the same situation. You got the kids, you got the wife, you got the dog, you have the business, and so on. From the second you step into your car until you go back home and you go to bed, tell me one moment where you have 20 minutes of complete silence, no notifications, nobody talking to you, it's dark outside, it's calm. Tell me one moment where you have this.
Mornings and evenings.
Exactly. No, but in the evenings, you have your wife, right? The kids are walking around. You have the dog. They all left. Okay, so a normal family where it's...
No, we sleep in separate rooms. And we do because of the babies, the kids. Right. I mean, they're very young kids. But I understand
my point being is that you need, in my opinion, to have this just to be able to keep your sanity. And during that 20 minutes, which I take every single day, 20 minutes of this, 20 minutes of reading, and so on. He's going to say something. During that 20 minutes, I always make sure I actually write myself a list of at least 10 things I'm grateful for that day.
And that is why probably you're hanging on to this position.
It never shows up on the list.
So you see, everybody, the point of all of this is that it works. I think that we all have to kind of practice this. It doesn't have to be for even 20 minutes. I do it in a very shorter amount of time, 35 seconds, just to reflect back. Where was I? Where am I now? I'm healthy. I'm good. Let's keep on going. And just that little thing, I think, is going to give you that extra little boost to keep on going. So,
I agree.
Enjoy, Jay. Take some time for yourself on the weekend.
I do.
Gabriel, I know you do the quiet time. Keep doing quiet time. Maybe we'll install this quiet time at work also.
Sure. Quiet time for you.
Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you on Monday.
See you soon.